Hello. So the next video is about a very great personality, that is Albert Einstein. The chapter's name is A Truly Beautiful Mind, CBSE Board Class 9. Albert Einstein was born on 14th March 1879 in the German city of Ulm. His head seemed much too large than the normal size. At the age of 2.5, Einstein still wasn't talking. That means he learned speaking little late. But when he finally learned to speak, he uttered everything twice. He was not involved with his classmates. He played with no one. That's why his classmates or his playmates called him rather boring. He played by himself most of the times. As Albert Einstein was a slow learner, he learned how to speak very late. He didn't participate much with other children, and he repeated everything twice. His head was of a bit abnormal size. That's why one day the headmaster said something to his father, and those bitter words were, "What Einstein choose as a profession wouldn't matter because he'll never make a success at anything." Nonetheless, Einstein did his schooling. He went to complete his education in Munich. But then he hated the school regimentations. He didn't like those norms, those rules, and strict routine of the school. Therefore, he just changed and withdrew from the school. Later, when his parents shifted to Milan, after prolonged discussion, Einstein got his wish to continue his education in German-speaking Switzerland. Einstein was very happy. Why? Because this place was more liberal than Munich. Slowly and gradually, Einstein started receiving the education, and his genre of specialization was that he was highly gifted in mathematics and he had a huge interest in physics. After completing his schooling, Albert Einstein he went to University of Zurich for further education. There he met a lady named as Mileva Merrick. Einstein fell in love with Mileva Merrick in those university's days. In those days, University of Zurich was one of the few in Europe where women education was in a success, and there women would get degrees. When he met Mileva Merrick, he found Mileva just the same sort, and therefore he tagged her as a clever creature. After completing his graduation, he went on for the search of work. He worked as a teaching assistant in the starting. He gave private lessons. And then, after a long struggle, he secured a job in 1902 as a technical expert in the patent office in Bern. There, he always involved himself in doing some calculations. Therefore, the people over there named his desk as the Bureau of Physics. In years to come, 1905 onwards, his scientific work got public recognition, and then we received the great theory that was given by Albert Einstein. It was the theory, special theory of relativity. Now, what he said in this theory of relativity? Einstein's theory of relativity says that time and distance are not absolute. Now, to explain this, he gave the example. He says, if two perfectly accurate clocks run together, they will not continue to show the same time. If they came together again after a journey, if one of them has been moving fast relative to the other. By this theory, there came a very world-famous formula, E is equal to mc square, whereas in this formula, E stands for energy, m for mass, and c stands for the speed of light in a vacuum. When Albert Einstein was busy with the struggles of his professional life, he was busy in inventing new theories and discovering the facts. Some ups and downs were there in his personal life as well. Einstein got married to Mileva Merrick, his lady love, in January 1903. They had two sons from this marriage, but few years later, the marriage faltered. They both lost their tracks. Mileva Merrick and Einstein got divorced in 1919, but the same year, Einstein married his cousin Elsa. Here are some glimpses of his achievements. In 1915, he published his general theory of relativity. The theory provided new interpretation of gravity. An eclipse of the sun after 4 years in 1990 proved that his theory of relativity is accurate. The newspapers proclaimed his work as scientific revolution. Einstein received the Nobel Prize for Physics in 1921. Albert Einstein was knowing about the power of nuclear reactions. He knew that the Nazis came to power in Germany. He knew about that Americans are preparing something. So at the urging of a colleague, Einstein wrote a letter to the American President Franklin D. Roosevelt, in which he warned that a single bomb of this type exploded in a port might very well destroy the whole port together with some of the surrounding territories. But his words were not listened by anyone. They were just unnoticed. And after the incident of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, Einstein was devastated because he knew the power of destruction. He then wrote a public missive to United Nations, and later he was also known for his involvement in maintaining the peace and harmony. He used his popularity to campaign for peace and democracy. Then came an year, 1955, when we lost the great personality. Einstein died in 1955 at the age of 76. He was celebrated as a visionary and world citizen as much as a scientific genius. I hope you liked the video and it was quite informative for you. If you liked it, please do like, share, and subscribe for you to get more and more videos and the notifications.